What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing? Happy New Year. Happy holidays. I hope your holidays went well. Welcome to the New Year of Sports by Ray, featuring none other than your boy Ray. So, for real though, New Year. See the grades coming in, getting a little scraggly. It's winter season, even though I'm in the South. It's not as bad. It's a little cold, but nowhere near where I'm from. I know Ohio's kind of going through it. The weather's fluctuating. But anyway, let's get the good stuff out the way. Everybody eat good. Everybody gain like that 10 to 15 pounds that you worked hard all year to lose, only to have a stupendous Thanksgiving week and Christmas go by, and then New Year's, and with it being on the weekend, then you lean into Monday saying you're going to start over, but you can't because it's like now it's an endless cycle. And now you feel like those people that are joining the gym for the first time, even though you've been in the gym, and now you feel like them, but then you feel like you need to wait because you want to kind of ease them out. Did I just go off on a tangent there? That's how, that's how we go do for the 2023. Just go say what's on our mind. But anyway, I hope everybody just had a good time. There's a lot of sports that's going on. There's a lot of things that happened. A lot of things to talk about. A lot of things. I'm just going to keep it quick with the basketball. It's kind of the dog days of the NBA season. I know two teams that everybody had a whole bunch to say, and which they always will because they're in the two biggest markets in the country, LA and New York, the Brooklyn Nets and the LA Lakers. So Anthony Davis has been out, but he's being evaluated. He may be able to be returning within the next couple of weeks. The Lakers, who started out 2-10, are now only 3 games under 500 at 18-21. KD, unfortunately, sprained MCL. It's not the same one he sprained last year. He'll be out at least a month. Will be evaluated, I want to say, in about 2 weeks. They're one game. The Brooklyn Nets are one game out of the first place, or the number one. Excuse me, the number one seed. The number one seed in the East. When at the beginning of the year, everybody had a lot to say, which was warranted. It was very warranted, but it's funny that in 20 games they just went 18-2, and I don't hear shit. Because it's almost like everybody's still waiting for them to mess up, and I get it because of what's happened the last couple of years. But sometimes it may take what they went through to get a little clarity. Like I said, Jacques Vaughn just made things simpler, simplified things. Everybody, so it's a new team every year, so you have to take time to get accustomed in your roles. People are finding their roles. Durant's playing like Durant's been playing. It's funny, and when he's healthy, they're always in the running for the number one seed, no matter what, if Kyrie's on the court or not. Kyrie's been playing awesome as well. Claxton's been playing well. They've been having a lot of bench production. Ben is slowly but surely getting back. You can see the flashes of aggression. The defense is doing well. I know everybody keeps saying that they want them to get a big body, which I get. And then I look at Golden State. Who's their big body? And they're the dynasty. They're the dynasty of the last few years. Because usually when you're that team, you make people adjust to you. And granted, the main person that they're referring to, there's some big bodies out there, but you're really referring to Joel Embiid. And nobody can check Joel Embiid, whether you're small, big, whatever. Rebounding like Golden State. I'm not trying to say that Brooklyn is Golden State. I'm just saying there's a weakness in each area. Rebounding for Golden State has always been an issue. Rebounding for the Nets are an issue. But since they got Steve Nash out of there and Jacques Vaughn's been a coach, they're top 3 offensive efficiency, top 8 defensive efficiency. You're going to win games when you do things like that. So I just wanted to give them a special shout out. And LA. I still think LA, let me say for the Brooklyn Nets, if they want to get a big body, that's cool. I feel like Ben Simmons is 6'10", almost 250. You're going to have to guard Embiid by committee anyway. Even like if you, let's say you go to the West and you play like the Joker and things like that, there's not many people posting up anyway. So Embiid will be a problem though, but whoever you have, he was going to be a problem. Go get D Howard. That's what I would say. I would say go get D Howard, just in case. But the Lakers, kudos. They're figuring out both of these teams, the Lakers and the Nets, they've gotten it because they've been getting it out of the mud. They play remarkable defense. KD's been playing remarkable defense for the Nets. Bron has been doing everything. When you just look at that man, is everything that he did after year 15. I just look at it as icing on the cake. So what he's doing right now is just, you just got to enjoy it. You know, some people feel like I don't like Bron. I always say I love Bron. Just don't like his fans. I don't like the unrealistic fans. I don't like fans. Well, let me not say. I have issue with people that put celebrities and athletes in deity status. They don't like to say they do, but those are the people that I have an issue with. Because it's almost like when you make just do a regular critique, they feel like you're trying to dishonor that person, or like, you know, that person could boo-boo in their hands and then they'll be like, man, why you say he boo-boo in his head? He did boo, like, those are the people I have issues with. So, LeBron is doing, you just got to enjoy it. Man's in year 20, taking off, just playing great basketball. And unlike last year, what he's doing is impacting winning. So, like, when people get stats and unless you're like you young, you're trying to figure it out. When people get stats and they ain't winning, I don't really care about that. I mean, it's dope that you're doing it, but what he's doing is impacting winning. That's why you got to give him major kudos. And the fact that he's in year 20, it's just a sight to behold, and you just got to enjoy it. But Darvin Ham is a great coach. They're just very small. Now, not small like Brooklyn. They got all these point guards. I would give Orlando a call. I'm just saying. Jonathan Isaac is somebody I know the Magic covet him, but I would be looking at the Magic have a lot of wing expendable players that the Lakers could use. They just need somebody. I mean, you got Pat Beverly, Russell Westbrook, Dennis Schroeder, Kendrick Nunn. That's 4 point guards or guards that get regular run, not to mention, I forget the dude's name. Lonnie Walker is a guard, 15. Dang, I'm sorry, I forgot his name. Like they got like 6 guards, like everybody that's under 6'4". And then you got LeBron and AD, and Thomas Bryant's been balling too. Thomas Bryant has been very essential and holding the fort down while AD's been gone. So just wanted to give props to them. If they make a trade, they need to make a trade for a wingman, somebody that's preferably 6'6" to 6'8", whether it's a 3-and-D guy or whatever. And preferably somebody that can shoot. And there's a lot of people in the league like that. So switching gears. Yeah. That was my DJ scratching without the editing. Switching gears, you know what time it is. It is playoff time. First of all, let's just give a major salute. Great to see DeMar Hamlin back in Buffalo. I mean, I know it's been explained, and you had something that happened in real time, which showed me what people are at the core. People care at the core. Now, when there was an uncertainty with that young man, there was no race, there was no political, there was nothing. There was just a genuine care. And that lets you know when people genuinely care, the energy and everything that was put forward by the majority of people, that showed. And that's all it takes in society. You just have to really care about if you want to make change. And that's what I saw with that. That was something great. I mean, it wasn't great to see what happened to him, but the response from everybody, the authenticity is what gives me hope. Because society, I mean, I'm never going to give up, but society on the daily does things that just gives me less hope in humanity. It makes me just feel like we can't be this stupid as people. We take so many things literal. Everything is looked to be offended or to be disputed or not agreed upon. Opinions just can't be discussed, and they can't be agree to disagree while respecting each other's opinion. It's either one way or another. But through all of that, with something like this, like it was looking like a tragedy that became a miracle, you saw people band together. There was no lines. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's people at the core. So that means like when you didn't have time to think or have time to strategize and say this would be the best for me or the best for this person, what the natural shit that came out was good. And that's something to just remember when you see people. Now they go back to their regular, basis and everything like that. But there's moments that you see the people's hearts. So that was good to see. Much praise to him, to the Bengals and the Bills, and also shout out to UC, the hospital. I used to go to the University of Cincinnati. They helped me when I found out, when I first had panic attacks and things. They go all out. I mean, salute to them. Salute to the people that were on the field, the staffing, and everybody that just, came together and hope that the man continues to progress to get a full recovery. So, shout out to everybody for that. That brings a little difficulty though within the playoffs because the Buffalo Bills and Cincinnati Bengals, that was going to be potential for the 1 seed. And so, in essence, because they didn't play, Cincinnati couldn't get the 1 seed. And so, at the very least, they may get a home game and then... No, they do. They get a home game. And then if they win, depending, they're going to be playing on the road for the rest of the time, depending on who they play. These playoffs are amazing. I mean, Aaron Rodgers losing, I'm a Bears fan, so I don't care. I mean, I respect Aaron Rodgers, the disrespect that he has going. Some of it's warranted, Some of that may be karma, how he acts. But, man, had a bad year. That defense was supposed to be elite. So, but anyway, shout out to Detroit. They're on the way up. But these playoffs are going to be real interesting. I'm going to start with the NFC first. Last year, I will say, I'm not even going to lie. My first round, I was perfect when I picked the wild cards. No, it was either the wild cards or the divisional round. Let me be honest. So, here it goes. All right, so we got the 7th seed Seattle Seahawks going against the 49ers. You got Geno Smith, who's probably going to win Comeback Player of the Year or Most Improved or something of that nature. Going against Brock Purdy. I don't know why I did. Brock Purdy and the 49ers. Everybody just feels like you can just put somebody in and plug and play when we saw that happen years ago and the 49ers were losing with their elite defense. So, dude is kind of good. But the 49ers and the Seahawks, I'm going to pick the 49ers to win. I'm going to say they win by like 7. For some reason, I can see the clock striking 12 against Geno, but I can see them for some reason keeping it close. For some reason, I got a feeling Seattle's going to keep it real close. So, yeah, I got the Niners by 6. Then we got the 6th seed New York Giants going against the Minnesota Vikings, who are the 3 seed. I don't know. I don't be believing in Kirk Cousins. I feel like he should win, but for some reason, I feel like it's going to be close. They've been playing close games all year, and they should win, and the Giants shouldn't win, which is why I feel like the Giants are going to win. Give me the Giants by 3. Giants are going to win by 3. Kirk Cousins in prime time. I mean, this could be very well because this could be the game where he can really shine. I mean, he won a playoff game before. This would be the game he should shine. But that defensive line for the New York Giants is pretty stout. Their defense isn't great, and they do have Saquon Barkley. And Daniel Jones seems to be getting in a little rhythm. And mobile quarterbacks, give the Vikings problems. So that upset, give me the Giants by 3. Dallas and Tampa Bay. Dallas is the 5 seed. Tampa Bay is the 4 seed. I feel like, not being funny, it's certain. You don't want to put it on just certain people, but it's certain people how they just, in the words of Stephen A. Smith, even though he doesn't own this word, the way they bloviate and the way they just I always have this false hope about their teams is like they set up the demise. And I know Michael Irvin is one of the greats ever. And also, Michael Irvin is great. But every year, the fan in him comes out and he bleeds Cowboys. I get it. But he always sets up the team. Now, him and Skip just set up the team for failure. Like, they may try to have some optimism, but it's small optimism wrapped around hope. And Tampa Bay, they just needed to get into the playoffs. They're in the playoffs. They're at home. I know they said something about Dallas' pass rush has been non-existent. They're better on turf than they are on natural grass. They're playing in Tampa, which is natural grass. Tampa beat them 19-3. Dak has thrown interceptions in 7 games in a row, and at least 4 or 5 of them have been multi-interception games. Tampa looks like, even though they have their struggles, it's a different level. I've seen Tom be able to turn it up. Even though the team looks crazy, they still have a good core of that Super Bowl team. I haven't seen Dallas turn it up. I feel like Tampa Bay wins by 10. Maybe that's too much, but I feel like Monday, Stephen A. Smith is going to have it's going to be Tuesday because that's the Monday night game. Stephen A. Smith is going to have a field day because they're going to talk so crazy and feel like they should win. But nobody really believes that Dak is going to beat Tom Brady. You just feel like the way Tampa Bay has played this year, Dallas should win that game. But then it's the Dallas Cowboys. Give me Tampa by 10. I don't know what's going to happen to Mike McCarthy after that. But, yeah, Dallas fans, I'm a Buckeye fan, so I understand fan bases and their hysteria, but y'all won't win a playoff game. And then, of course, Philadelphia got the bye. So the much anticipated match of Dallas and Philly, even though I wouldn't mind seeing Dallas win because I really want to see Dallas and Philly, the rematch. Of course, if with me having New York win, that wouldn't happen because then New York would go to Philly. But if Dallas handles their business, then they'll have the 49ers and then they'll lose then. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But I have Tampa Bay winning by 10. Philly gets the bye because they're the number 1 seed. As we go to the AFC, you got the 7 seed Miami versus the number 2 seeded Bills. The Bills are already playing with urgency and with a purpose. Nobody knows who Miami's quarterback is going to be. Give me the Bills by 14. Not even going to spend time on that. Salute for what they're going through. They just seem like they're ready. They're going to run through Miami. The Chargers versus the Jags. The 2 pretty boy quarterbacks. Let me rephrase that. The 2 quarterbacks, the prototypical quarterbacks that they love. They're good dudes, though. They can ball out, and they balled out this year. Much love to them. Justin Herbert and the Chargers versus the Jags and Trevor Lawrence, a.k.a. Sunshine. I just feel the Chargers have the better team. The Jags are playing better. The Chargers defense, I'm not sure if Joey Bosa is going to play with Khalil. Their defense has been terrible. I'm going to go with the Jags. Even though I feel like the Chargers should be favored, I'll go with the Jags by 4. The 6 seed Baltimore is playing Cincy, even though they just played last week. We don't know who's playing, whether it's going to be Lamar or Huntley. I'm going to go with the Bengals. The Bengals are going to win by like 10 to 12 points. It doesn't feel right. Something doesn't feel right in Baltimore, and we know what it's all about. Shout out to Roquan, who we traded as a Bears fan. We traded, and Roquan got his $100 million deal, and Lamar Jackson still doesn't have a deal. And you want to come from a PCL 5 weeks and then be able to perform magic with not a lot of talent on the offensive side of the ball, which doesn't make sense to me. But they'll figure that out. He'll probably get the Kirk Cousins treatment, franchise 1 or 2 years. It just depends how he feels about that. It's obviously, it'll be a tough ask, even though they're a well-run organization. You kind of see in the cracks, not like a big crack, but there's some dissension there, and you can feel it in the air. And so, give me the Bengals. The Bengals, to me, are the team that nobody wants to face. People say San Francisco is the team they don't want to face. Nobody really wants to face the Bengals. The Bengals are clicking. They don't allow a lot of 100-yard rushers. They haven't allowed a 300-yard passer, but for some reason, the media seems to want to continue to just give us this Josh Allen versus Pat Mahomes because of the measurables, which I get. If there was any situation, if Josh Allen had beat Patrick Mahomes 3 times in 1 calendar year, the narrative would be different. And the thing about, I get Burrow, but Burrow's the number 1 pick. I know he doesn't have a howitzer like Allen, but he had the best college season. We saw that he resurrected the Bengals, and I understand there's some hesitancy because of the Bengals. And you see when Joe talks that talk. We have a chance for a Super Bowl as long as I'm here, my whole career. And nobody thought that was crazy. Now, if you would have said that 2 years ago, we would have thought he was crazy. But, I get it. They want to see the Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen Bowl, which I get. We saw that. It was great. But what we keep seeing is that Joe Burrow keeps beating Pat Mahomes. Nobody else is doing that. So, but anyway, give me the Bengals by at least 10 or 12. Of course, Kansas City has the bye as the number 1 seed. They have something where if Buffalo and Kansas City plays in the AFC Championship, it's a coin flip. Because of the circumstances, and I understand that. I just want to switch real quick, thinking about the Lamar and the situation with the quarterbacks. And Mike Tannenbaum, went on TV earlier today. And, sometimes people like to put things out there. And, sometimes people are too smart for their own good. I think Cat Williams called it, he's just a smart dumb. But anyway, the Bears, who are my team, have the number 1 pick. And now you're suggesting, floating into the air, that the Bears should trade Justin Fields and then get Bryce Young and then get more capital and everything, not realizing they already have capital. They can trade the number 1 pick, get a lot of capital. They have the highest cap space in the NFL. You're a former GM. You didn't equate. Why didn't you add that in? It's the type of shit like that makes me so upset, because those are the things that, those things, man. And he's not prejudiced or racist, but those undertones are trying to be smart. Those are the things that undercut. Those are the things that undercut Justin Fields during his draft process. That's why the damn Jets got Zach Wilson and the damn 49ers got Trey Lance. That shit don't make any sense. If you just talk about Kyle, you saw Justin Fields literally beat the stuffing out of Trevor Lawrence, and nobody marked that against him. After he lost to him the year before when they really should have won as well, and they just ignored that. And then you had all this stuff coming out like he wasn't a hard worker, all these things that hurt. When you mess with this man's money, because the higher you go, the higher the guarantees. And then you almost just ignore, okay. Yeah, they didn't draft that man, but Doug Peterson and them didn't draft They didn't draft Trevor Lawrence. I don't hear shit about that. And Trevor Lawrence was looking terrible at the beginning of the year. But then you let it pan out, let him get coached. And Trevor Lawrence has way more talent on his team. The Bears traded away the talent. Even shout out, much love, All Pro, Shady McCoy. How he talks about Justin Fields is so damaging. And I get it. Like you saying he can't throw the ball. Like I saw Michael Vick his first 2 years. Michael Vick was running just like Justin Fields was, with a lack of talent. And there was no question that Michael Vick could throw the ball. Michael Vick had those same type of passing games. I saw Jalen Hurts too. You put Jalen Hurts in Chicago with that offensive line and lack of weapons, and then you put Justin Fields with Coach Sirianni with the best offensive line, one of the best tight ends, a great running back, 2 number 1 receivers, another receiver that runs 4-2, a great defensive line, 2 lockdown corners, and give him a year, give him 20 games in that and see how he'll look. Y'all know more than me because y'all was in the sport and everything, but that shit don't make no sense. Talking about, so you want Bryce Young, who, when Alabama's line wasn't that good, was taking a beating to go to Chicago, where he's not bigger, faster, or stronger, or throws hard, or throws better than Justin Fields, and that cold, and he's frail, and you want him, that don't even make any sense. I can even, I don't know if it's the bias. Maybe they just ignore C.J. Stroud, and then they keep talking this Will Levis. I remember Will Levis at Penn State. I remember Old State played him. I'm a Buckeye fan. They played him. He got what is this? But you know what? That's what they do for draft day. And I'm not saying Will Levis won't be great. I seen Will Levis versus Georgia, and I saw C.J. Stroud versus Georgia. I also saw Bryce Young versus Georgia as well. I'm not saying Bryce ain't dope. I'm just saying Bryce, you would want to put him in a better. I know he's going to get drafted early, but some of those teams have better offensive lines. The Bears have a terrible offensive line. And if you want to talk about Mike Vick, they were the number 1 rushing team when he was there too. People have preconceived notions, and then they just go on TV and just say some stuff that damages them. You know what I'm saying? McCoy saying he can't throw. Like, what do you mean? That man was like number 1 in QBR. If you looked at the Chicago Bears after the first 4 weeks, and then somebody told you for 4 to 5 weeks that they had the number 1 scoring offense in the league, you would bet your house. And they had the number 1 scoring offense. They revamped it. He ran more. He never ran like that in college. The amount of drops. Everybody else talks about everybody else's drops, and I'm not saying Justin Fields holds on to the ball way too long, and he tries to make things happen, which a lot of QBs do. And he needs to come off his reads quicker. I agree. And then when he tries to throw anticipation passes, the receivers can't catch the ball. Not to say he's not without flaw. You see what I'm saying? But that man had to be Superman. And I would argue if Roquan and Robert Quinn are there, they might have had a kind of record that the Detroit Lions had. Because the Bears were in the majority of all their games. They just really lost because of a lack of talent that they traded away. No number 1 receiver. It took a minute for Luke Getsy to kind of get Justin Fields so they can figure it out. Montgomery's okay. Kyle Kmet came on as of late, so you saw that connection. Khalil Herbert was injured for a while. It's like none of that got put in consideration. That shit irked me, man. I couldn't believe it. And then you see people on, of course, man, he can't do this. Like, what, man? Give that man some talent. Give him what all the other numbers. Let him be what would he be if he was with the Jets? You think the Jets would be in the playoffs? You see what Brock Purdy is doing? What the hell do you think that Justin Fields will be doing with Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, and George Kittle? Man, I'll get the hell out of here. Talking crazy. I had to get that off my chest. And as a Bears fan, we have not had. This is the best QB we've ever had, potentially. Jim McMahon, okay, he won. I don't know about Sid Luckman. Salute to him. I won around then. Jay Cutler is technically the best quarterback we had. Like, you've been spending this amount of years looking for a quarterback to galvanize, and now you finally found somebody to galvanize, and you talk about you want to get somebody else because you want to be smart. They can trade everything that he was talking about. They can keep Justin Fields and get all of that stuff. Compensation, draft picks. They have the most cap space in the league. So what are you saying? When you get mad at this, you got tough people. I digress. Let's just talk, let's go ahead and move along. Let's talk about this. I mean, the de facto national championship game, which was really Georgia and O State. But, I mean, we'll talk about, there's not much to talk about. Georgia beat TCU 65-7. It's nobody's fault but Michigan. I already gave my piece. I told people, people don't understand. I'm an O State fan through and through. Eric, we always want to argue. People always want to argue about the SEC and the Big Ten. And year by year, the SEC always proves their point. And I'm tired of it. And I'm tired of going back and forth. Every time the SEC gets two people in the playoffs, they meet in the championship. The first time the Big Ten gets two teams in the playoffs, both of them get eliminated the same day. And so Michigan, I've been saying, we're not battling Michigan. Now we have to battle Michigan. We have beat them 8 times in a row. They've won the last 2. That is salute. Our battle was against the Alabama, Clemson, and now Georgia. Because we're ranked top 2 or 3 every year, and we in the top 4 or 5. Michigan, they're getting there now. Their biggest victories is against Ohio State. That's cool. Who are y'all beating outside of us? Because outside of y'all, I can tell you who Ohio State is beating. You want to hear it? Here it go. They beat Alabama. This is in the last 8 to 10 years. My friend always like to argue. He want to go back in history when black players weren't playing for those schools. I don't count that shit. But anyway, they beat Alabama. They beat Oregon. They beat Clemson. They beat Notre Dame multiple times. I'm talking about bowl games and regular season. They beat USC. They beat Utah. Michigan hasn't beat anybody. I need Penn State. Y'all need to, that's why I was saying with the SEC, we know Bama is the reason. Bama is what made the SEC the standard bearer. I'm saying in the last 10, 15 years with Nick Saban. I know we get it, Tennessee, Florida, Urban. That's when they turn. Nick Saban actually, when he won at LSU, turned the tide. All that, we get it. I'm not saying, I'm just talking about it's been Alabama, and then Auburn won, LSU was one, and now Georgia's won. Where's the help from anybody up north? Michigan, Penn State, Wisconsin, Iowa, Notre Dame, anybody. It's only O State. And that's why they keep knocking O State, because it's 3 or 4 teams down here and down south that they can go to at any time. The only team up north is Ohio State, and everybody wants to talk crazy about Ohio State. No, raise your level. And okay, Michigan, shout out to you. You beaten Ohio State twice. And I'm saying, that's cool. Beat somebody else too. Jimmy tied the game and won. So, in closing, I just wanted to get all that off my chest real quick. This is my first episode of 2023, the first of many. But yeah, there's a lot of, and I'm not even really emotional. I'm just speaking facts. I'm just speaking direct to people. These are the facts. O State, we should have won. We were the better team, but we didn't win, so we're not the better team. There's no moral victories. But sometimes you need this hurt. Like I told people, I said I seen Georgia within the last 5 years. I saw them beating Alabama in 2017, and then I seen Tua Tagovailoa replace Jalen Hurts, come in, throw an overtime touchdown pass to win the national championship game. 2 years later, Georgia is winning 28-7 SEC championship game. Saban replaces Tua with Jalen Hurts. They come back and beat Georgia. SEC title game last year, when everybody was saying that Georgia had a legendary defense, I saw Jamison Williams run roughshod on them, win 40-24, go up and down the field against that Georgia defense, which is why I knew Marvin Harrison was going to be able to do the same thing. It's something about their corners. It's that front seven, but the back four, they're good, but they ain't matching up with nobody one-on-one. But these are also elite receivers. They shut Tennessee down, though. Tennessee's offense, a little more vertical. Alabama and Ohio State got a lot of different concepts as far as crossing concepts. They'll have somebody go 5 yards. They'll have somebody in the middle. Then they'll have somebody go deep, and then you just got to choose one. I mean, it's just much difficult. Ohio State controlled that game. Ryan Day took the ball out of CJ's hands the last 2 times. They got him within field goal range, and then they got conservative. I felt like John Cooper came out of nowhere and jumped into the body. It was like, nah, let's not win this game. Let's be conservative. Tressel does some conservative stuff too, but he'll win at the end. So now Ryan Day has to figure all that out. We know CJ's probably going to the league. Jackson's gone. Hopefully Travion will be healthy. Mayan is coming back. I like a lot of young players that are sitting behind these people that are getting out of here, and give Jim Knowles another year in his system. Yes, there were major flaws. I just saw, like I said, when it comes to college, your defense just needs to be great the majority of the time to be able to make sure you can have stops, because Georgia's defense was great and O State was running up and down them. Michigan has a great defense, and TCU put all them points up. In college, sometimes if you got a great offense, unless your shit is legendary, you will get points put up on you. So I hope y'all enjoyed the first episode of the 2023 of Sports with Ray, episode 17. There'll be more coming. Appreciate y'all rocking with me. Y'all see the scraggly beard. Birthday coming in a couple weeks. It's going to be a great year. It's going to be a lot of content to come. Y'all have a good one.